Hello everybody, Akamatzu here, back with another thoughts video, this time on Final Fantasy III, Pixel Remastered, the third game in our Final Fantasy marathon. Final Fantasy III was the first Final Fantasy in the marathon that I went into with absolutely no expectations. I've never really heard anybody talk about this game before in a good way or a bad way. I've just never heard anyone say anything about it truly. So I just didn't really know what to expect. Let's start off with what I like. Final Fantasy III introduces the job system into the franchise. Now, while Final Fantasy 1 allows you to pick from 6 jobs total, but you can only pick 4 of them, Final Fantasy 3 gives you more jobs the more you progress, and anybody can be any job, which is also pretty cool. There's no restrictions on these people have to be this and those people have to be that. You unlock a lot of jobs in this game. There is monk, you have thief, you have red mage, you have, I was really surprised, geomacer. And it was just so cool to see all these jobs, and some jobs I've never even heard of, like Evoker, which is the name of the artifact armor of Summoner in Final Fantasy 11. I didn't know that it was its own job. Thought that was really cool. I didn't know Geomacer got started in Final Fantasy 3. There was a black belt job, which was like an upgraded version of Monk. Never heard of that. Always just heard Monk. And so I think they did a fantastic job with the job system in Final Fantasy 3. There's a lot of options, a lot of variety to choose from, and a lot of jobs I'd never heard of. And I thought it was a really fun time. Another point that I wanted to touch on, Final Fantasy 3 feels like just a improved Final Fantasy 1. We see the slots for MP return. We have the semi-job system get expanded into a full job system. They didn't bring back the proficiency from Final Fantasy 2. It just really felt like an improved Final Fantasy 1, which I think was probably the best place that they could go with it. They improved the encounter rate in Final Fantasy 3 as well when compared to Final Fantasy 1 and 2. You're not getting bombarded with fights in this game. Oh, thank goodness. It's actually reasonable, and it makes exploring when you're lost and you're trying to find something, or you're trying to get to a place and you're trying to solve something, it makes it not a headache to get thrown a fight every 3 to 5 seconds. And boy, was that a welcome change in this game. Thank goodness. Final Fantasy 3 also had really cool exploration. There was a lot of hidden walls. And I was actually very worried about this stuff because my chat told me about the whole like hidden walls, and you would search for a hollow part to find some stuff that was hidden. I was a little bit nerve wracked thinking I wasn't going to like it. I actually ended up really liking it. Going around and trying to find all the hidden stuff on a given screen was actually really fun. I think the Pixel Remaster makes this a lot better with one, labeling how many items and boxes are in a given area so you know if you missed something or not. I imagine that is really nice in the remasters and probably not so much in the originals. But they also show a path. So like when you're going through the wall, you'll see a path. And what you can do in the Pixel Remasters is you can open up your map and you can see the path of the entire map. If like there's another hidden path and you're like, "Oh, okay." So once you find one, you can potentially find all of them on that given part of the screen. And then when you go to the next area, you're going to have to find it again. But it made it fun to try to find the paths and where things were hidden and stuff. I was actually having a great time doing it. And I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I didn't think I was going to like it that much. And I was very surprised by how fun the exploration really was. It was really neat to see a lot of the summons that are now reoccurring later in the franchise. I went through this journey with Evoker, and I was very hit or miss with it because you can't make it do what you want it to do, and it's random. And then by the time I unlocked Summoner, I was like, "Oh, this is great." But then I found myself missing certain things about Evoker and stuff like that. Had a really, really fun time with Summoner in this game. I thought it was really cool what they did with it. And I found myself missing the fact that a Fret can AoE heal. I have never seen that ever in any Final Fantasy game. I was so shocked when he did an AoE heal on me. I was like, "What?" And then when we get the Summoner, you lose the AoE heal. And I was like, "No, give it back." It was really, really fun. to mess around with just a lot of the jobs, but Summoner in particular was one of my favorite jobs in this game. Another great thing that Final Fantasy III did was the story and its guest characters. Now, Final Fantasy III improves on the narrative when compared to Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2. 2 was like a step forward, and 3 is even more of a step forward. In this game, they really go hard with like world building and NPCs really mattering. Your guest characters that join your party follow you around, and I thought that was cool. You can see them on the map, and not only can you see them on like the hub map, you can talk to them and they'll have things to say about what's going on. And it added a lot more of personality to not only them themselves, but the world, and makes you feel like they're actual people living in the world. It was a cool way of doing the guest characters that we got in Final Fantasy II and added more personality to them. I thought it was a job well done. And the way they did the story and the events in the story, I thought was also an improvement over Final Fantasy II as well. And I think my last positive thing I have to say, and it's going to be short and sweet, the battle theme in Final Fantasy III is amazing. It's so good. Like, so good. I went to Final Fantasy IV, and for like the first 4 hours, I was humming the Final Fantasy III battle theme every single time I got into a battle, and I was like, oh man, I missed this. The battle theme in Final Fantasy III is so good. It's too good. It does not deserve being that good. Now let's move into some of the things that were neutral. These are things that I wasn't particularly happy with, but not overwhelmingly negative about. And that would be less of a focus on a villain. Final Fantasy II I felt like was like a right step forward, having a center bad guy. In Final Fantasy III, you feel like you're chasing a ghost pretty much the entire game. You hear about the bad guy, you see other people talk about the bad guy. It's a shocking difference between Final Fantasy II's portrayal of a bad guy and Final Fantasy III's. Now, I did say the story was fleshed out, and I still stand by that. The way they presented the story with the characters that are involved, not really yourselves, but the people around you, was well done. It's the villain that kind of takes the back seat for this world building to be so good. And I can't say I really like that much in comparison. I just wish they were a little bit more present into the game again. Not bad, not overwhelmingly good, just meh. I wish it was just a little bit better. And when we come to the bad parts about Final Fantasy III, I do not really have any. I had a great time with this game. I can't really think of many things bad to say. Maybe the final dungeon, I could see it being annoying if you played the original versions of the game, but I played the Pixel Remaster, so I didn't have to deal with that. I walked away from Final Fantasy III loving it. I thought it was a great time. I had very little things to complain about. I thought they improved on the things that I thought were poor in 2. It was really nice to see the things that I loved from 1 return. The story getting fleshed out was great. The multiple like airships and stuff was really cool. The way you explore the world was great. Job well done. I think Final Fantasy III is a really, really good early Final Fantasy. And I think that's where I'm going to leave this video at. I had an amazing time with Final Fantasy III. Did you have an amazing time with Final Fantasy III? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, share it with your friends. I'd appreciate it. And if you would like to join me on our Final Fantasy adventure, we're doing this big old marathon where I'm going through 1 through probably 16 by the time we're done. You can find me over on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Akamatzu. I stream every day at 2 a.m. Eastern time, and we would love to have you. Thank you so much for making it this far in the video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you all in the next one. Stay crunchy, amigos.
So dance while I put you in a trance.